Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and today I have the pleasure of announcing the Cyclist Tactics. And that is a game that I've been working on for the past 2 years, or if you're not taking it that strictly, the last 7, 8, 9, no, maybe more like 12. Yes, because this is a concept that I've been working on for a long time. But the last 2 years we've actually started making this game. And before I go into explaining all some weird details and waffle on forever, let's just look at the friggin' trailer that took me 12 hours to make for 2 minutes of video. So here you go. The Cyclist Tactics is a turn-based strategy game in which you lead a small team of professional cyclists from humble beginnings to competing in the toughest and most prestigious cycling events in the world. The game's focus is on the highly tactical races, with all stages being procedurally generated at the start of each season, making them unique. Despite its board game-like look, there are no dice rolling or RNG mechanics. Winning comes about when superior decision-making meets careful resource management and planning, making use of your rider's strengths in decisive moves. Teamwork is essential to keep your leaders protected, to avoid pesky peloton pulling duties, to create lactate threshold crushing leadouts, making attacks impossible, and to set up your sprinter in perfect position for that final dash. Starting with just yourself as a young cyclist and a handful of cash, good performances satisfy your sponsors and lets you develop your own rider and team members as they gain experience. Focusing on or mixing 6 different specializations and 5 different attributes makes riders progress from eager novices to monument-winning superstars with a hefty price tag, or deeply flawed athletes, or both. With a maximum roster of 6 riders and 9 races to pick each season, it doesn't take long or require spreadsheets to get your team lined up and ready to go. As such, management is simple, but not simplistic. The game not only is for tactically minded cycling enthusiasts, but anyone who fancies nuanced tactics where decision-making is king and at least has a tolerance for management games. Knowledge about cycling tactics sure helps, but is not required to get into it. And now everything is clear and no questions whatsoever. You know exactly what this game is, and you're going to go to the Steam page, link below, and you're going to wishlist it, and everyone is happy, especially Kirob. Or not, because you don't know what the fuck is going on, which is quite likely. So, what is this game? Before we go into that, let me just note quickly that there is a video up on Automation's channel that is going into the, let's say, the conflict of interest of making a new game while Automation still isn't out there, which I think is a fair comment to make, or fair question to ask. And I'm going to go into that in the announcement video there, which is up right now along with this video, has been posted at the same time, rather. And let me just hint at it, the Automation's development was not affected at all, in a time sense. Maybe it has cost us a week. Oh no, a week. You can't wait a week after 9 years of development. But it has benefited the development of Automation quite a bit, which you're already enjoying without knowing that it actually came from the Cyclist, like a UI redesign. But yes. So I'm now going to attempt to do the impossible, which is to try and convey all the important base game mechanics to you within just a few minutes. It is not a super complex game, but it has a lot of emerging complexities. And I think you're going to see that while not fully grasping the scope of the implications of all that. So what I'm going to do is just start the first tutorial as a little playground for that. And here we have the beautiful plains of Gazmir with rain. But what, Kirob? Gazmir? What are you talking about? Well, yes, this game is actually set in the fictional universe that is used in Automation for the Light campaign. And that is another benefit to automation, which is going to come up in 4.2 actually. And that is that we are fleshing out the game world a lot. And that has been done for the Cyclist and automation, as the shared universe then has double value. So why not do that, right? Pretty cool stuff. I'm really looking forward to showing you that. But let's get to the base game mechanics here. So I'm trying to keep it brief. 10 points here, you see, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. These are the nodes, these are spots where cyclists can land on. And when more than one cyclist is on there, they are considered a group. Anyway, this 10 means how much free movement points you are going to get the next turn when you land on it. So if I land on this one here, then I will get 9 free movement points the next turn. And I would get 11 if I land there. If I want to move further than my free movement allowance, then I need to spend energy. This is the energy you have. And then also, if you want to go even faster, you see these little orange markers? They say how much attack points you need to go even further. So you go all out on energy, and then you add attack on top. So basically, this is aerobic riding up to your threshold, or close to your threshold, and then all the way to VO2 max for those of you who are into the cycling. Your rider has a bit of a limitation though, and that is the allowance per turn, which is a stat each rider has. So this rider at the moment can use 7 energy per turn and 5 attack per turn. Other riders might be going up to 9 or even 10 energy per turn as a maximum, and 12 attack per turn. Of course, you're burning through your attack really quickly then. So alright, let's take a quick look here though. We do have a so-called flat section in here. Flat 1% slope, flat minus 1% slope, flat minus 2%, flat plus 2%, and then, well, downhill sections. There are 3 different kinds of base terrain. There's lots of rain though, that's more than base terrain, I guess. Oh, the puns. So, yes, flat, mountain, and downhill are the base types. And then there are special types, which we don't have in this very first tutorial. And that is going on top of these categories, and that is technical sections and cobble sections. And those are making riding harder in those sections. Okay, so let's move to a first point. We're now on another node which has 10 movement points. We moved from here to here, exactly 10 fields. Now he wants us to go and use energy, and that is easily done by just moving further beyond this. And we're using energy there, it's all good. And then maximum attack, and if you use your attack maxed out, then the maximum attack per turn drops by 1, and it will do so every time you use your maximum. So if it drops to then 4 and we use 4 the next turn, then it will drop to 3. So you can only max move once per stage. Ah, haven't we done brilliantly, Mr. Not Peter Sagan? Yes, we have done very well. And now we need to rest. That is another thing that is important. You can partially or slowly rather, recover energy by moving slower than your free movement allowance, but you cannot recover attack points during a stage. So you see these green nodes? That means we are recovering energy there. Now we're going to jump quickly into tutorial 2 to take a look at technical sectors and cobble sectors and how traits work. So that is what I couldn't show that in the first one. So if we just go along here, you see the terrain again, and oh, there in fact we have a mountain section. It's a very short one, just 6 nodes. It is, let's see, it's getting a little more opaque this way. 5 points of movement, and then the downhill section right after has 13 points of free movement. So yes, remember, landing spot is your free movement for the next turn. That is the base movement you're getting. Now we have the same rider as before, but he is in time trial gear, and that gives him a bonus trait in flat. and that is, of course, only used in time trials, but these trait bonuses that you see in there, they apply to the sections of terrain: flat, mountain, and downhill. And we have those there. So flat is this section, mountain there, downhill there, and then flat again. And the trait that applies to your move is the one that is the worst one out of them between your starting point and end point, excluding both the starting point and end point. Sounds confusing, but let me just show you here. So if we are going, let's just move somewhere. There, okay, that was all free movement, and here we go. So now we need to ride to a waypoint, and he lets us rest in peace. Okay, so if we move along here, you see that, okay, if we land on the 11, of course we get more movement than landing on the 9 there. So let's move there. 6 energy cost to get there. And now, if I move from here to here, then that is between here, between those two nodes, from a starting node and end node, only has flat stuff. So in flat, I have a trait bonus of +1, and there's nothing else in there. So that means I get a +1 for my movement. If I now take the mountain along, then you will see down here in the move details, the trait bonus, the total trait bonus, goes from +1, because that is the end node, doesn't count if I move to here, to 0, because I have a 0 in mountain. So whatever is between you and your target node, that is what counts as the worst thing that it can be encountered. So if I move over here, for instance, then we see something new, and that is a technical section. Oh no, rather a cobble sector, actually. Currently in the game, in this version, the nodes are so tightly packed that you don't actually see the cobble road that is underneath. That is going to be changed. So anyway, what happens here is that you see a bit of a break there. 3, 2, you would expect a 1 here. But that doesn't happen, because look at the move details down here. The trait modifier for this section is -3. So as soon as you include it in your path, you're getting screwed over, especially on a TT bike. So we also have a -1 modifier here for cobbles. So how it works, if you are in the flat sector here, you get a +1 for the flat, but then there is cobbles. So overall, you still get a -3, because this one, the cobble sector alone, is -3. We have a +1 from flat, -1 from cobble, so a total of 0, so we only get a -3 from the cobbles. Whew, okay. So terrain kind of can screw you over in the sense that it's really difficult to ride, and other riders who are skilled cobble riders would not receive that penalty. So that is how the riders are differentiating themselves. Anyway, that should be enough of an explanation there to just get a rough sense for it. Downhill sections, really sharp ones, can be very technical. And this section here is a severe technical section. It has a trait modifier, a total trait modifier for us, for -5. So while you're getting 14 points of movement if you land in there, if you try to move through it, yeah, you're kind of not seeing that. You're getting 9. It's worse than being on flat terrain. So you see that it's very important where you land and how to plan your moves. So now we're going into a little race, and I'm going to show you the slipstream stuff, because that is what makes cycling games, or cycling into cycling. It's so important for any kind of resource management and all the tactics that just needs to be shown. Now that you know single rider movement, you can probably already see where it's going with the slipstream. But let me show you. Let's generate the hills of Vashduk. If you've been following my channel, you know Vashduk, and it's known for its car manufacturing. What is it doing in this game? Huh? Isn't that funny? So what we are going to do here is find a bit of flat terrain at the start, regenerating the stage. So nice and quick. Completely procedurally generated. and you will never really find any stage that is exactly the same as the one that you've seen before, which is really cool. So high replayability value. So let's generate this one. We are going to race with our shit little climbers, level 3s. They won't be doing anything, but we're just going to fall back behind the peloton, and then I'm going to show you what's going on. Welcome to Vashduk. It looks just like the Plains of Kazmir. And that's because the tile set is locked in and the same at the moment. But we are now in the peloton, and the peloton, oh, that is something that I need to probably elaborate on. The peloton is bigger than the sum of its riders in this game, because the game scales cycling down to a more manageable size so that it doesn't take forever. And that is usually 30 to like 20 something riders to 40 something riders are actually tracked riders, but we are still considering that there is a peloton. It is an amorphous blob of teamless riders that is just riding along and hanging in there according to certain rules. And that makes it so that you do get your slipstream bonuses and stuff. It doesn't deteriorate into a free-for-all that easily. And water carriers are taken care of, because that's, well, the peloton. So, great stuff. No, there's no water carrying in this one. You have a maximum of 4 riders per team taking part in this. And this looks like it's going to rain bad really soon. I do have a debug in... Oh, fuck me! I hope you brought your umbrella, because this is going to get... No, umbrella doesn't help, there's too much wind. Yes, the text up there is completely way too large. But yeah, there's my little weather forecast in here, just for debugging purposes. So there the rain comes. Did you see how it turned dark before the rain actually started? Quite proud of that. That's nice. And oof, oh, look at this. Oh man, how many drops are there on screen right now? 2,000, 2,200. Yeah, that's pretty heavy rain then. Also, fun fact. Currently, it's because of my programming. If your computer is fast, the rain is faster. So it rains faster. It's not great. And instead of using delta T, I'm using frames, which is terrible. Will be changed. Anyway, where were we? Apart from in the rain. 32 riders, all in the peloton at the start. We are in turn 0. There is a reordering phase, a so-called reordering phase. Reordering phase is always after a turn's movement phase. And let's just drop our riders from P1, where we were. We could move up. That is getting into relay. This is in P1, and this is in P2. As you can see, P1 is the only place in here where riders actually are resolved. They can act forwards. They can move out of the peloton forwards. They can get into relay or drop back, as I just did. And you can only move one group per turn. So now I've been dropping into there, and I'm going to do the same with my other riders. Wow, that weather. 2,600 drops. That's pretty bad. Well, how about it? 45, 50 is maximum, so yeah, this is almost maximum rain. Feels like it. I really like the weather effect. So yes, we're just going to move along. We are in the peloton now, in the heart of the peloton. Great slipstream bonuses there. You can see that here. If we move to that place, the only place we are allowed to move to, because we are stuck in the middle of the peloton, can't move anywhere else. But the advantage here, for this small movement that we did, and it's just 12 fields that we moved, we get +3 slipstream bonus. This means that we are paying 3 less resource points, well, if applicable, right? If we wanted to move this distance alone without anyone else around, then we would probably be spending, with this rider, he has a 0, we have, oh well, we would spend 0 actually in this case. But if we were spending 3 energy to get there normally, and we get a +3, then we spend 0, so it's potentially really powerful. So now, after this turn, we are in the reorder phase again, and now we're going to drop to the back, so that we can drop out of the peloton, and so that I can show you an isolated case of movement. Now, you can see that we are allowed to move shorter than the peloton, but not beyond it, because the peloton is actually blocking us. So I'm moving all of my riders not into the peloton, but rather into a small group here. And no, that is not good tactics. So please don't repeat at home. And I'm going to move one rider into the relay of this little group. We are now in A1, which is left behind. So now we are also going to just move very short here for me to be able to show you something. And that is, this is what we can do this turn. And if I want to show you what you can do next turn, I just press the preview button, and that is allowing you to plan ahead some moves. So if we go like this, and I'm saying like, okay, I want to move to here, and then from there I can reach the downhill. I can jump over this hill basically by going all out, like max, Vieto max. Here we come, destroy your soul for this move. Sounds good to me. Not going to do that now. Instead, what we're going to do is just fall short so that I can show you how the slipstream works. So everyone in there. All right. So here we have our move. Let's see. We can move from here 10. We have a 0 trait, and there is nothing in here that does modify our traits. There is this one, flat 2%, that limits our slipstream bonus, or no, it reduces our slipstream bonus by -1. So if we move to here, this front rider, there are 4 riders in this one, and the front rider moves first. So obviously he doesn't get any slipstream. And if he moves here, it costs him 7 and 1. So 1 attack point and 7 energy. Maximum energy plus 1 attack. So there we go. The rider who's the identical rider, don't forget, these are our default identical riders. This identical rider now sees the following. We have moved 18 nodes, as you see in the move details there, 18 nodes, we get 10 free movement. We have a total slipstream bonus of +2, and that is because there is a -1 already calculated into that. So we would get +3 slipstream bonus for this move, and thus pay 3 less energy and attack points cumulatively, compared to the one rider that led us out. And you see here that it takes 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. So you see how energy efficient that move becomes when moving in the slipstream. The slipstream bonuses you get in the peloton for various speeds of movement. This slipstream bonus varies with speed, as it does in real life. If you move slowly, you get very little slipstream bonus. If you move really fast, slipstream bonus is super important. And if you move up slopes, then slipstream bonus is very limited, because these all have -2, -2, -3, this is steeper, -3 there. And, oh, this is a technical section, that's why it has -1. But if you just move in the downhill, the standard downhill, you get huge slipstream bonuses. So it's basically impossible on an easy descent to get rid of someone. If he's on your wheel, it's basically impossible. So let's have all riders follow this one. And yes, there's some streaks across the screen, so that's an artifact of the UI being dragged along for a frame, so ignore that. We are happy with this, but what we are going to do now is it's harder to show. I'm going to move up one rider there and show you how attacking works, or normal movement works and attacking, because attack points are not called attack points for no reason. Another quick node, well, these are nodes, and they are not quick. That is a quick node, but a quick note is that here we are in a situation where our +1 bonus is actually being applied, because if we move from here, a flat node, to this downhill node, we only look at what is between, and everything that is between is mountain nodes, and we have a +1 trait bonus in mountain. There we go. So we actually get a trait bonus of +1. But now let me show you something, and that is having lots and lots of implications for how races are working. If you use just energy in a move, let's move this first rider. He's in a relay at the front. He's moving to here, right? Now, this rider, let's pretend he's someone else, not in our team, moves to a rather terrible, but yeah, not so convenient spot, and you want to follow him to there. using 7 energy instead. So what happens now is that this rider, who moved first, got overtaken by someone who used just energy in his move. Now this rider, who got left behind, gets the option to pay the difference in energy and move up to him, to be on his wheel. So let's do that. He followed along. Now, let's take the next rider and use not only energy but also attack points. Let's move them to, let's say, just because it's terrible, move them to here. There is no option to catch up now, because he used attack points. Only the riders that are coming behind him will get the option to move along. And you can see this in this little notification up here in the node. This group was created by a standard move. This is the standard move icon. And this group was created by an attack. So not everyone can follow it. And now I'm going to try out if we actually have fixed a certain bug. It's such a nice situation for it. If I move into the peloton, yes, that bug is fixed. So no one got the option to catch up to this rider. Not the one who attacked, no one else, because he was behind everyone else who already had moved, and he used attack points. So in that way, positioning within a stack of riders becomes really important and quite interesting. And I think that should be enough for us for now, because I can't... Whoa, this one guy went crazy! Crazy fast. What's going on with the logo animation? Anyway, I think that is all I want to show you as the basics today, and you now have the following task. If you're somewhat interested, or let's call it at least mildly interested in the game, please leave your questions below, and what I'm going to do is read them through and see what kinds of videos you want me to make about the game in its current alpha stage. It's not polished up, as you can clearly see. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and see you guys next time.